Welcome into Mixed Reactions. Today's date is February 20th, 2024. It's a Taco Tuesday. The NFL season is over. Justin didn't get to join us last week, but now we're in the full swing of basketball season. We're going to get at some point during the show to what the fuck was going on last night. 211 points scored by Tyrese Halliburton in the East, picking up the victory. Before we talk about what the fuck has the world come to when it comes to basketball, I want to see how my fellow co-hosts are doing. I have Casey Merritt and Justin Duncan, who's actually from Apple Valley but currently resides in Maine. How are both of you fellas doing today?
No complaints, my good sir. I'm doing well.
About the same, hanging in there. That's probably the best way I could put it, but doing all right.
Yeah, no, and I'm doing all right too. You know who wasn't doing all right? Adam Silver last night during the the All-Star Game MVP presentation. You could see he was visibly not the happiest camper in the world. Beginning of the game, it looks like they might kind of try to possibly actually give some effort, but then it came to the point where, excuse me, guys are just jacking up shots. Fuck, Lillard shot what 33s? Like it's just getting out of hand, man. I'm a big fan. And it's not even like we got to see any super cool dunks. It was and the East was hot. Don't get me wrong, but it was just no defense, man. Guys just chucking it up from long range. Like I feel like they need to. I don't know what they need to do as far as like a niche, maybe World against the USA, but they got to do something, man, because I think they could do something with the skills challenge personally. I think with the NBA, I feel like it's hard to do something like that and not them give away their entire bag, like moves that they might try in a game. But why not like a best pass contest? I think that would be really good because there's no. I mean, Jalen Brown almost won with doing
He
mediocre
put up,
at
yeah, he
best.
put up 38 off the bench.
No.
So
Wait, who?
Jalen Brown.
Oh, no. I'm talking about in the dunk contest. No, Jalen
Oh,
Brown.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, shit, dude. The East had 211 points. What did Lillard? Lillard had to finish with at least 40 because they had 211.
I think he finished with 41, if I recall correctly. I could be wrong on the number though.
Mac McClung, man, that white guy can jump. I think that. Uh huh.
Oh yeah, no, you're good.
No, I was saying I think they're gonna milk him for as much as they can. I mean, because we get to see him dunk once a year. I remember personally. I remember watching his mixtape when he was still in high school. He went to Georgetown and ended up going to Texas Tech. But he's a really just exciting guy to watch.
They
To
need
put
to
it,
give him an actual shot to jump in the league
eh,
too. I know his size is questionable and his strength, but he also won the G League Rookie of the Year. Let's not act like Mac McClung can't play a
mhm.
little bit of basketball too.
He's still in the G League, isn't he?
Yep, he is. But he won the G League Rookie of the Year. Like he's got skill.
And another thing too is people. I mean, he does have athleticism a lot more than guys that height, especially white Americans. But he still is going to be a liability on defense, and people want to joke about well, they don't play defense in the NBA. You have to be a Trey Young type Luke. Like you have to be one of those guys to where if you don't play defense, that's okay. He's not. Granted, he's shooting close to 40% this year in the G League from three. That's really impressive, but it's not something that he's done his whole career. So I don't know, man. Maybe they can give him a shot, maybe not. What I did enjoy though is Sabrina Ionescu versus Steph. I know we've talked in here about how we think an NBA team would bash a WNBA team by 300, and I still think that's the case. But I think it was really cool to see her on a big stage on a Saturday. I mean, because it's fun, man. It's the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Like, it's
That
nothing
was the
too
best part of the
serious.
weekend, to be honest, in terms of entertainment value. Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Kenny
She put
Smith
up a
looked.
great fight. You know,
Kenny
you got to
Smith,
think she
put that
scored
pressure
26
on him,
points.
lady.
She scored 26 in the shoot off against Steph. 26 was the highest number of the night for the actual 3-point contest.
With Dame, she killed it, man. And then Kenny Smith put that pressure on him, lady. I thought it was cool, man. I think we could talk about the WNBA all day, but to be able to have a player actually be on that stage on Saturday night, and that girl can shoot. I've watched a couple of
She can
Liberty
absolutely
games.
shoot.
She can shoot. But that
Can
was
she
a
shoot as well as Caitlin Clark?
Ooh.
I don't know. Caitlin Clark is more
Tearing it
reminiscent
up.
of Steph, but that's the shit that we'll leave that to the WNBA analysts because Caitlin Clark is she might be one of the best women's basketball players to ever play. I mean, she's starting to shape out like it. Cooper Flag, bro. Holy shit, that dude is good. Like he looks just different the way that he moves down the court. He's gonna be playing at Duke next year. He's gonna probably be one of the most hated players in Duke history, but he's not gonna be there for more than a year, so I don't
Yeah,
think
he's
gonna
gonna be
be out.
Christian Lindbeer all over again.
Christian
All
Leitner.
over. Thank you.
Oh.
Bill Lindbeer, Christian Leitner. My bad.
I was just letting it slide. But yeah, man, I'm excited to get back into basketball season. We're gonna talk some NBA later on in the show. We'll kind of just flip back and forth. But I know Justin, and I was watching the game myself a little bit earlier on ESPN Plus. Great subscription, by the way. We don't get paid to do it, but definitely worth the investment. That place was rocking at New Hampshire. I know you had a lot to say about the fact that they just to paraphrase, they tried to get fancy when they could have just kept it simple, and that's what cost them. With it being a team where their best player is young, one of their youngest players, do you think that that's going to come back to haunt them, or do you think that they have the coaching necessary to be disciplined enough to get it done, especially late
Well,
in the game, 3-1 in the three.
yeah, I
They had,
mean, one of the big things, at least for the first game, or I should say it was the second game, when they had that was the game where really they just didn't have it. Um,
No, that was Friday night.
It was Friday night. I mean, Saturday they were taking it to them, and then Donovan Hoole, who's kind of like their second. Is he on the second line or third line, Casey?
Second line.
Second line, but he's their spark plug when the front line is just not getting it done, and he got called for a major cross-checking penalty, which he did make contact with the UNH player up high, but not to the extent that he sold it. I watched the replay a couple times, and I mean, Poole acknowledged that he made a mistake and went high. So he tapped the guy on the back while he was on the ice, say, "Hey, my bad," kind of thing. But it was not a deliberate contact to the head hunting kind of thing where where what they gave him was a 5-minute major game misconduct and good
It
night.
should have been a double minor.
Absolutely. It should have been a double minor. And maybe then you have the NCAA review to see if it should have been elevated to then, what they ended up doing is suspending him for a game, which is what they did.
do you think that they're? I'm listening. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't.
But UNH, I mean, it's been said. I mean, college hockey is, especially from a student perspective, it's always wild. It's always crazy, and Maine and New Hampshire is no exception. But there comes a level. I mean, I'm not to try to toot my own horn because we bully the opposition from a fan standpoint, just trying to get in their heads. But UNH students and such show some damn class. I mean, was there any point really to when the ESPN cameras are panning towards you, showing the student section, "Hey, we're here," to be flipping off the entire world who's watching on ESPN Plus? Was that necessary at all?
That's fair. I have a tough time when it comes to criticizing college kids at sports environments.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to declare myself a saint on that front, but a little bit more class would be appreciated.
No, that's fair. It's not that your statement is wrong or you're being too harsh on them or anything. For me personally, it's tough to go at college kids in that environment. And the way they're just young, dumb, and having fun. So it's cool with me, as long as they don't get physical, as long as they don't.
They were taking it to actual fans in the stands, Maine fans who had traveled too.
Yeah. Which is cool. That I have no issues with that. I know Maine fans get pretty rowdy. I've seen and heard some stuff from the student section that definitely wouldn't be dignified as classy. So I'm not going to hold the student section responsible or hold the students in any way, shape, or form regarding into Maine's actual performance on the ice this past weekend. it was unacceptable. It's Saturday, first Friday night. I think it was what 6-2. They lost.
6-2.
They got blown off the ice. Saturday night they come back. Of course they score the opening goal. Then New Hampshire comes up, and due to that 5-minute major, they tie it. They had about 20 seconds left on said power play, and tied it up at 1. Maine never recovered from that.
Nope.
Donovan Houle, Justin can attest to this, is by far their best penalty killer.
Easily.
So after that transpired, it almost felt like Maine lost their heart. To use a weird and awkward comparison, Donovan Houle, Ian, is almost to Maine what Draymond Green was to the 2016 Warriors.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
It's an off the wall comparison. It's an odd one, but he kind of brings that energy. He brings that toughness and that spark to them. Maine's not the most physical team. They do have a lot of finesse, and they have a couple guys that will rough you up around the boards, but comparatively to Maine teams over the past 5 or 6 years, this is way more of a finesse team than we've had in a long time.
And another comparison I would make, kind of going to baseball in a sense, I compare him to the Cardinals and Yadier Molina.
That's fair. That's really good. That's
integral
a really good
part is what it's
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Not the most skilled player, but will hit around the boards and is a fantastic penalty killer. And so the biggest issue for Maine right now, definitely,
I told
I'm
you
not
already wound up enough as it is.
I'm not gonna say it's Ben Barr because he has done a phenomenal job with the team. But it also does become a point where the lack of discipline does have to fall on the coach. So he's not the issue, but Ben also has to make some corrections to the team because this type of lack of discipline is the exact reason they're not going to make it at the NCAA tournament.
You lack of discipline.
They are very undisciplined and they come unhinged pretty easily.
And I think that's a testament to their youth, to be honest, rather than just necessarily the coaching. I think it's the youth.
Fair. No, Justin, you're not wrong. But also when it is because of the youth, the coach has to find something within that team to alter that.
Yeah, and to control it.
Absolutely.
Productively. Like, because you could do two things with the attitude that they have. You could either be self-destructive or you could use it. Because we've seen Maine beat teams that they really had no reason beating BC just by playing good hockey. But they're not good enough to play that way and win the national championship.
No.
Personally, part.
They're not good enough to win the national championship, regardless. You
have to have lucky mounts to say it to even
absolutely. But you have to be disciplined to win a national championship. You absolutely have to be. And again, not saying it falls completely on Ben Barr because he's a huge portion as to why Maine is where they are. There's a reason Ben Barr is the highest paid state employee in the entire state of Maine.
Nick Saban too, yeah.
He is a big reason why they're there. He is a great recruiter. He's phenomenal with his X's and O's, but it almost seems like I don't want to say too lax because I don't know that much in depth about how their locker room is, but it almost seems like they lack not only discipline, but lack consequences too. And when you lack consequences, you don't fear the discipline.
And we've seen how shitty Maine has come out in a few games this year. They've come out and just, look at the UConn game. And the thing is, when you win games like the UConn game where they were down, it could have been 3-0, but they called back the goal, but they were down 2-0. And you win games like that, it almost gives you, I don't want to say a false sense of confidence, but yeah.
No, that's what it does.
It's a false sense of confidence. It's a great way to describe it. Yeah, absolutely. It's exactly what it is. Because then they have the mentality, we're down 3-0. We've shot ourselves in the foot for like 50 minutes of the game. But we're down. We can come back. No big deal.
We've done it.
One thing that Maine has to realize, and even as a fan, I hate to say this, but it's the truth. They're a good team. Don't get me wrong. They're not as good as they think they are.
They're not. No. They're on the precipice. They're on the cusp of that great status.
And it almost feels like they're not there yet. And it almost feels like Bradley's hit a freshman wall.
I don't think necessarily he's hit a freshman wall. I think I
feel like he has, man.
Something else just occurred to me. maybe, I mean, not to consider that he's tanking necessarily, but maybe he doesn't want Carolina to pull him out too early.
I can't see that.
I mean, it's hard. I mean, I don't want to think that way, but there was a time going back to 2013 where Devin Shore, who was one of our better
Dallas
Stars, he wanted to stay. I actually knew him personally when he was at the school. He wanted to stay, but Dallas called him early. He wasn't ready to go. So,
that can be detrimental to a young player's career if they get called up when they're not ready.
Yeah, and Devin Shore, he's still in the NHL, but he's not like a household name to anyone.
No, he's not. He's not. And no disrespect to Devin Shore.
None at all.
But Bradley Nadeau is better than him.
Oh, yeah. I'm not trying to compare the two. I'm just saying it's worth wondering if that's at all in the back of his head.
I don't know if it's in the back of his head.
First round pick. First round picks typically pulled up quickly comparatively.
I get that.
He hasn't scored since January 12th at UConn in that 5-3 comeback. So, I mean, it could be a lot of the freshman wall. But then also he's easily the most talented player they have. So I think
he could be getting targeted.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it could be the team just figuring him out to an extent.
He's far and away their most talented player. And another thing about Maine, they're in a very bad position goaltender wise.
Yeah,
the reason being,
I was just going to mention that.
The reason being is they keep bouncing back and forth between Osman and Boyja, which you
can't pull the Olmark Swayman thing that Boston's doing like the Bruins are doing. It's not going to work.
Especially in college hockey, if you have two starting goaltenders, you don't really have a single starting goaltender.
That's the sort of thing that got Barr his national championship runs in UMass and wherever else he was.
To be fair, he was an assistant coach though.
But he was, yes. But when he had his championship runs, that's the kind of tandem that they played at those respective schools at the time. Not to say he's trying to replicate that, but it's worth asking the question.
No, I get what you're saying, and that makes sense. But I feel like,
it's a disservice to both of them.
It is a disservice to both of them. And if you were to ask me right now, who's the better goaltender?
Boyja.
I don't know.
I'd say Boyja, honestly.
Possibly, but not by much.
Osman can butterfly better in terms of making you the spectacular save, as it were. But Boyja is much more. He doesn't he's much less likely to let in the cheap one, comparatively.
I agree with that. Osman is more prone to let up the cheap ones. That's fair.
Because he does not handle rebounds very well. Whereas Boyja, if you have to beat him on the first shot more often than not while he's been in net. If you don't beat him on the first shot, then he probably has you.
But also, if you want to put it like that, then if it comes down to you need a goalie to make one save, I'm taking Osman.
Yeah, if it came down to a shootout at the TD Garden for the championship, I'd pull a Julie the Cat. Yeah,
absolutely.
I would. Yeah, I would.
I think with their goaltender situation, it's a lot like in like football. You can't have 3-4 games left in the season and still trying to be figuring out who your quarterback is. Like at some point, you
have to establish that. Absolutely.
When you get in hockey though, you do have to switch goalies every once in a while. You can't play the same goalie every night. So I get that, but you can't alternate as much as they have been.
Not at this point of the season. Wait, is
it not this late in the year?
Or are you just saying like because of schedule wise they play back to backs like every?
Yeah, because schedule wise they have back to back every weekend.
Yeah,
and it seems like the second that one of them struggles one night, they switch them automatically for the next one. You got to sometimes let them work through that struggle and play them again the next night.
Now, hockey. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. But Boyja had a struggle against UNH night one.
And Osman played
like garbage in night two, honestly. But
Thankfully,
It
we got
is what it is.
Northeastern this weekend.
I'm not sure I'm feeling too good about that.
It's at home. I feel
That's
good
true.
about getting. I feel good about getting 6 points this coming up weekend.
I think there's a decent chance. I'll say at least 4. I'm not sure about 6. I'll say at least 4. But
they can't come out flat.
they have to come out and they have to score and score fast.
Because if I'm not mistaken, Northeastern's coming off winning the Bean Pot, so
they are coming off winning off the Bean Pot, but they also just lost pretty badly last weekend, if I recall correctly. Let me check that.
That I can't remember. I know they won the Bean Pot. They beat BU.
Yeah, BU's kind of struggled of late too, which is atypical of them. But I'm sure they're just kind of letting it just coast in because they've got the playoffs, the Hockey East playoffs bagged, so they don't really have to worry about a first round bye losing a first round bye at this point.
Hey, good thing for Maine, they're still sitting at 3.
Thank God. Ugh.
Like that was the perfect time to get the brooms put on you. You know what I mean? If there was any time in the season,
this was it.
Yeah.
Maine has
I hated the fact it was at UNH, but
yeah, that one hurt.
Maine has 5 games left, correct? I was looking at it yesterday. I can't remember if it was 4 or 5. I know they have Northeastern twice. They have
once,
twice.
They had Providence. They split against Providence.
Yep.
Providence is done, so they have Northeastern this weekend.
They did get 4 points, thankfully, though, because
UMass and Vermont. Vermont was the
and then they got Northeastern, then Vermont, then UMass Amherst.
Okay.
So Northeastern split against UMass Lowell.
Oh, okay, that's fair. That's not a great weekend for Northeastern.
It's not a great weekend for Northeastern.
UMass Lowell
sucks.
They fight though. UMass Lowell is always a team that's going to give you their best. That's the thing about UMass. I think we swept them if I'm not mistaken, but
we did. But
Maine needs 6 points this weekend. Needs. Not can get, needs. They need 6 points this weekend.
I would agree.
And then they need 6 points against Vermont.
I'm just looking at Vermont's recent schedule, in recent history. They split against Merrimack last weekend, losing 5-2 on Friday, then winning 4-1 on Saturday. Those were both at home. Now this week they go to Boston College. That's going to get us. That's a sweep from Boston College. Yeah, that's
a sweep for BC.
And then then we go to Vermont for that weekend. Yeah, Vermont has had an up and down year. Their non-conference schedule, they did fairly well, all told. But when it came to in-conference play, not so much. Yeah,
Vermont's kind of the least talented team in Hockey East, I'd say.
They've been the least talented team for a year or two. But what year was it? Was it 2017 that they were up there?
Yeah, it was like. Yeah.
What was that?
Okay, for sure. I thought I was tripping. I was like, God damn it, I need another headset.
Sorry, that was my headset. It fell out. Yeah, a couple years ago, I remember Vermont being fairly decent. But they really are never in the upper echelon.
No,
yeah. That was a great discussion on college hockey, boys. Ian, you said you had the next topic in mind, sir. What's up? What's in the sports world docket for mixed reactions today?
Well, NFL season is over. We are gonna, the last part of the show probably focus mainly on hoops. So for one pick, your way too early pick for 2024. What is your one bold prediction? I feel like we did something similar to this, but
we kind of did. So
what did we do?
Do you care if I switch it up on the? We did that last weekend. Do you care if I switch something up on the fly for this quick NFL segment?
Yeah, but I thought we did. Yeah, you can, but I thought we did Super Bowl. I don't remember doing.
We went through all the conferences and every division who we thought was going to win that.
Did we?
So let's do it like this. Let's do it
Go
like
ahead.
this.
Yeah.
If you want to do what you want to do, we can. But
No, go
all
ahead.
right. Sum up the NFL season from 2023 in 5 words or less.
Players gonna play. Shake it.
Don't bet against Patrick Mahomes.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Justin. Don't bet against Patrick Mahomes.
I don't know. I have a few.
I've got a few too. How about this? How about we have your team season in 5 words?
Oh, I like that. All right,
okay.
Dallas season in 5 words. I have it down. Never trust a Cowboy team.
Damn. He had that shit ready to go. Like, you counted that 5 words pretty fast.
Right.
Mine would be I am not really tripping. This season went pretty good compared to how I thought it would go, and I like what we have for the future, especially with Nakua. So I am not really tripping. That is my answer.
Yeah, especially the way the Rams you had them at the beginning of the season, Ian. This was almost like the best case scenario for you guys this year.
Oh, absolutely. We did amazing. We made the playoffs. We almost beat the fucking Lions.
What about you, Justin? 5 words or less for the New England Patriots. Is it?
Why do we
Tom?
draft? No, why do we draft you, Mac? Why do we draft Mac?
That's perfect. That's a good one too. That's a good one too, and that's seriously that's a double-edged sword question because obviously Mac, he hit his ceiling his rookie year, right? And he has not progressed ever so slightly since his rookie year. But it's his weapons have diminished every year too. So I'm not going to, but a small part of me still wants to give him that benefit of the doubt where put some talent around him and see what he can do. But at this point, even if you're New England, can you willingly waste another season with Mac even if you put talent around him? Are you willing to waste another year?
No.
So so you as a Patriots fan, you're done with Mac Jones. Done.
Bye. Good night. See ya. You know what?
I have a hard time.
You know what I would. You know what I would say. What they should have done. I'm just going back to that draft.
Okay.
They should have traded up to number 10 and picked Devontae Smith and gave Cam Newton 1 more year.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm not certain it would have made a huge difference. I don't think you would have won the AFC by any means, but
no, but they would have a legitimate number 1 where they don't. They haven't.
That's fair because Devontae Smith's definitely a number 1-ish type receiver.
He's a 1A if you consider what the Eagles have right now. But
yeah, he's no AJ Brown.
No,
but I thought it was kind of funny when people were trying to compare Devontae Smith to CeeDee Lamb. I thought that that was hysterical, but that's neither here nor there.
Different stratospheres.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's I think we all had some pretty decent words for our team. And, regardless of how it ended for all of our teams, obviously it ends for disappointment for 31 other teams. And it was a fun season. It really was. Before we jump into hoops, I'm sorry, buddy. I got to put you on the spot. I know you said you're cool and you don't have to. Sum up the Super Bowl for us, Justin, in your eyes. You weren't here last week. I mixed reaction fans, myself and Ian, we want to hear it from the horse's mouth. Sum up the Super Bowl. It can be a quick 5-minute segment. I just want you to have the floor to speak about it really quickly.
Okay. Going into the game, I really didn't want Kansas City to win. Mostly because it was kind of like the last bastion of the dynasty that New England had. One of the real things that no other team has had for better part of the last 20 years, if not more than that, was the back-to-back championship sort of thing in 3 of the last 4.
Mm-hmm.
But when I
do you consider the Chiefs a dynasty now?
Yes, I do. I
Me
do.
too.
I do.
Me too.
I was going into this season, I was skeptical of how they would kind of survive without the home run shot that Tyreek Hill brought to them week in, week out. And I was, again, like we said, don't bet against Patrick Mahomes. So I was pleasantly surprised that he didn't regress on that front, because I anticipated a significant drop off, and to some extent they did have a significant drop off if you consider the reliability of the receiving core in Kansas City.
It was dreadful
for
most of the season.
It was god awful. But
one thing that Ian and I were talking about, and we mentioned that Tyreek Hill thing because we both almost had similar thoughts. And of course, now he's 7-0 in 2 Super Bowls without Tyreek Hill.
Mm-hmm.
But we were talking about the final drive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I asked Ian this because obviously he bet on the 49ers and he wanted the 49ers to win. When San Francisco took the ball in overtime and only managed a field goal,
game over.
What
I
was
knew
your
it was
initial
thought? It was game over. Game over.
Okay, that see,
at
I
that
was
point,
a
I knew
little
it was
bit more
game over.
skeptical. Ian said the same thing. He's like, as soon as they kick that field goal, I knew Mahomes was going to go drive down and get the touchdown.
Yeah.
The way San Francisco's defense was keeping him in check, not in check, but keeping the whole offense in check for most of the game, I was a little skeptical. I was like, I'm not so sure.
They kept him in check for one full half. That's really all the time they kept him in check. For the first half, that was about it.
That's fair. But the only touchdown they scored was off the muff punt before that last drive in overtime, you know?
True, but at the same time, Mahomes wasn't screwing up left and right.
No, I mean, he threw that one pick that was pretty bad. But...
It was a bad throw. I mean, of all the throws he made that night, that was the worst one. I mean, come on.
By far. Yeah. But okay, so you were in that mindset. When San Fran kicked that field goal, you're like, it's done.
But this is the part that, and in post-game, this is the part that just blew my mind. They didn't, according to Shanahan and according to the players, they did not know the overtime rules. How do you not know? How?
It's pretty fucking simple. I mean, I could probably teach this shit to my 7-year-old.
See, the funny thing is, if you guys seen the mic'd up portion of it, Mahomes was shocked when they won the coin toss and got the ball. He went over Andy Reid. He's like, they wanted the ball. Like he was shocked.
Well, no, you should want the ball because if you score first game, did they change it to where both teams get a chance now?
They both get a chance. That's the point.
Because that's what the Josh Allen thing, right?
That's exactly it. They changed it.
That's why he was so shocked. He was like, they want the ball.
Yeah, because you want to go. It's like college. If you both get a chance, because you go on defense to see what you have to do first.
Yeah,
how
exactly.
To play.
You hit San Francisco. Absolutely should have kicked. But now that the game's over, Justin, and you've had time to process this, and you have to now realize that the Patriots are no longer the last dynasty in the NFL,
which is fine.
It's okay. Of course,
I'm okay with it.
It's just sports. I mean, we love sports. Don't get me wrong, but it's not the end all be all of life. So we're all cool with it. But
correct.
What is your thoughts going now? Now that it's over, now that the game is passed, because me and Ian were talking about this, and we talked about it on the last show. Me and Ian, and you've been a part of it too, been having this conversation for months now, that we think there's a distinctful difference, right, between the greatest and the best. And I don't put Mahomes in the greatest of all time yet. I
can't. He's one of the best, but he's not the greatest.
Right. He's not the greatest yet. He obviously has the chance to be with everything he's accomplished and still so much.
If he still follows this trend, this curve of greatness that he is on, then yes, I will not forestall that from happening.
No, of course. But I told Ian, and I'm standing by it. He's the best quarterback I've ever seen. He's better than every other quarterback I've seen. Just everything that he does in
raw
accumulation.
Talent, yes.
He's the best quarterback I've ever seen. That does not mean he's the greatest.
No, he to me is a perfect combination of young Aaron Rodgers and Sheriff Peyton Manning.
Yeah, that's absolutely what he is. With the clutch factor of Tom Brady.
Yes.
And just the combination, because he has the arm talent of Aaron Rodgers, he has the defensive reading of a Peyton Manning, and he has the clutch gene of Tom Brady. And I've said this for years. I've told so many of my friends this, and I still think this to this day, but it's kind of altering now because you have to be an athletic person to be able to do this. But I think, and I don't know if you guys agree with this, if I were to teach my son, say if I had a son and I was teaching him to play quarterback, I'd show him Peyton Manning, even before Tom Brady.
Yeah, we just talked about
I would.
this.
I would agree.
That's
I
what
agree.
I'm saying.
I agree.
I
If you
would
want to
show
show
him,
how to,
like,
how
this is how
to
you
purely
play.
play the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, of course, Mahomes, it's tougher in that element because he adds the running element. He adds the, like you said, Justin, in the chat, he goes off script better than anybody.
He's the greatest improvisational quarterback I've ever seen, period.
Mm-hmm.
He probably should go as the GOAT, down as the GOAT for that now.
Yeah, of course.
But
I agree with that.
For me, he's not. He can't go into the GOAT conversation for me until he proves his longevity, and that's the thing for me. It's longevity
matters.
That is what will seal it for me. He doesn't necessarily, in my opinion, need to eclipse Brady's Super Bowl number record necessarily.
No, not necessarily. No,
not necessarily,
because there's a lot of determining factors into it.
I mean, for example, Peyton Manning is in the GOAT conversation. He only has 2.
And it's just because you saw how he played the game.
Exactly. But
you can already put him in the conversation for the best you've ever seen.
Yes, I could put him in the top 5 of the best I've ever seen to play the game, if not top 3.
Absolutely. If someone asks you who's the greatest you've ever seen and the best you've ever seen, your answers can differ.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I think it's 2 completely different things. I mean, yeah, we were talking about this on the last show. I mean, the greatest basketball player of all, well, that's a bad one because I think LeBron's. LeBron, I think, is the greatest and the best that I've ever just seen talent wise. But yeah, I mean, Peyton Manning.
Yeah, no, you can be the greatest and the best too. You absolutely can, but it doesn't. It's not necessarily.
They don't necessarily go hand in hand. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the only one that it does coincide.
Wayne Gretzky.
Thank you very much, Wayne Gretzky. That is the only one that it coincides with.
Justin, you and I have been saying it for what, 10? Like, we haven't known each other for 10 years, but actually we might have since next week.
It's been 9 years.
Since at least the beginning of our Wayfair days, Wayne Gretzky is the only undisputed.
Only undisputed.
He's the only one you can't make a case against. You can make a case that Tom Brady's not the greatest quarterback. You can make a case that Jerry Rice isn't the greatest receiver. You can make a case on LeBron or MJ. You cannot question that Wayne Gretzky's the GOAT of hockey. If you do, you have no idea what you're talking about.
You haven't watched hockey.
Exactly.
No, but what I would my biggest takeaway from the Super Bowl post Super Bowl,
Mahomes is a bad motherfucker. He's a bad mother. Is what he is.
Hey, Junior Bevan, you're a badass mother.
So, Ian and I talked about this too, and I want to ask you this.
Junior,
say they win again next year, and he three-peats. I think that wide opens the door for GOAT conversation. I know he'll only have 4, but if he three-peats, the GOAT conversation needs to be had.
It needs to. He's if anything, he's got his foot in the door. At the very least, if he three-peats.
Exactly right. At the very least, he would be solidified, no question, number 2, and he will be chomping at Tom Brady's ankles for number 1.
3 Super Bowls in a row, bro, is crazy.
No one has ever done. No team has ever done that.
No team has ever
close.
No team's ever been back to a third after winning 2 in a row. They're the first team that, if they go back to a third, that'll be the only team. And I feel like, I don't know, man.
The Patriots went to 3 in the row, but they lost. They beat the Falcons. They lost to the Eagles, and then they beat the Rams.
Yeah.
That Eagles Patriots Super Bowl, I think, was probably the best played game.
That game was amazing, bro. That game was
game was so back and forth.
And that goes back to the Super Bowl from this time. Like I know Nick Mitchell. Shout out to Nick Mitchell was saying the 4th and 1 was huge, and it was. But we didn't have like for as great as the game was going into double overtime. We didn't have
We
that
didn't have a
Tyreek
signature play.
catch or the
Right.
We didn't have a signature play. I agree. Like the Edelman catch or the
Manningham
David
catch,
Tyree
the
catch,
Tyree,
the Mario Manningham catch, the
Santonio Holmes,
the Philly
Charles-
special, the
Charles Brown interception,
the Fletcher Cox strip sack.
Yeah, there wasn't that one signature play, which I agree with Ian. You're not wrong. I guess you could argue the one signature play is the last play, the McCall Hardman walk-off touchdown. When you have a game that has a walk-off touchdown, that's kind of always a signature play, but it was such a standard play too.
It felt like the James White touchdown and the comeback with the Patriots and the Falcons. Like, yeah, it's going to happen. I'm watching him just march down the field. When is it happening? That's what it felt like to me.
So you had no doubt Mahomes was going to go score.
I had no doubt. Once San Francisco kicked a field goal, I was like, Casey's getting the ball. You really going to think that he's going to get stopped?
See, I forgot about the rule change too, bro. So I would have been celebrating, and the fucking game wouldn't even have been over. Wait, no, the game wouldn't even have been over yet, man. I'm kind of glad they did, bro. They were so close to scoring too, man. They were inside the 10, I think, and just couldn't do it. Like,
yeah, Kansas City's defense stepped up when it needed to too. That can't be understated.
What I wanted San Francisco to win, and the other thing is, again, not to kind of toot the Patriots horn, but San Francisco to then tie the Patriots' 6th Super Bowl record.
Yeah,
which would not a big deal because the Patriots are still tied with Pittsburgh for 6 Super Bowls, so that doesn't make really great.
See, I want San Fran to win for that exact reason because they have 5 like Dallas, and I didn't want them to go one above Dallas.
But the reason why I wanted San Francisco to win is because I wanted Brock Purdy to win, being the Mr. Irrelevant. And I wanted him to get the MVP. That's what I wanted.
All right, so before we hop off NFL, Justin, these were Ian and I's way too early Super Bowl picks. I have the Chiefs over the Rams. Ian has the Chiefs over the Cowboys.
I'm rolling with Dallas again. This is like the 4th year I've done this shit.
What's your way too early Super Bowl prediction for next year, Justin? Should we go through the divisions with him, or do you just want to do the Super Bowl?
I'm gonna. We can go through the divisions, but I got my pick. My way too early pick.
What is it?
Baltimore over Detroit.
Oh, I love it. That's different. I love it.
I think. It's hard enough to two-peat, but forget three-peat. I think Lamar gets his finally. So,
what week is Patrick Mahomes getting hurt then for the season?
If that's the reason why they don't win, week 13.
I'm just kidding. I'm just saying.
If that's the reason. I'm not betting against him. I'm not. Okay, let's for the record. I'm not betting against him, but against him, I'm betting against the team being able to run that back again.
You realize if this man gets hurt in week 13, like you're gonna look like both a prophet and a fucking hex.
That's fair, but Justin, I'll say this right now. Let's fast forward 11 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
Say if it's Baltimore at Kansas City in the AFC Championship game, and we do our pick segment, I have a feeling you're going to pick Kansas City.
I'm picking Kansas City at that point. Unless Baltimore's like run the table, for example, then yeah.
Well, it seems like we talked a lot of NFL for the season being over. We're already 45 minutes into the show.
I mean, we got the draft coming up in just a month and a half. It's almost draft time, baby.
Let's talk some hoops, though. We got to get some hoops in before we get off the show here because obviously we're in the full swing of the NBA season, guys. And we have 20-ish games left before the playoffs kick in.
I think it's we're sub 25. I think we might be in the sub 20s for some teams.
And Justin, I said this to Ian last week, and you're a Celtics fan too. So if you disagree, I want you to chime in. Or if you agree, I want you to expand on it as well. Mm-hmm. This season is 100% championship or bust for Boston.
They're the best team.
Yep. They need to get it done now.
This is the only time.
They need to blow up their roster. and change.
This is the only time throughout this whole run where they have undisputed been like the best team, and they've had the best record in the league all year.
Mm-hmm.
But they are playing the best. They have the best offensive efficiency label. They're number 3 in defensive efficiency. They're outscoring opponents by an average of 10 points a game. Average. And Porzingis is not down and gone like he's been in the past. He's relatively healthy. He's missed a few games here.
He's the difference maker, man.
He is. And there is not a single team in the East right now that I think can push Boston to 7 games.
That's exactly what I told Ian last week. There's not a single team in the East that I fear at all. Not in the slightest. Milwaukee, talent-wise, player for player, can push them. I just don't think they're as driven or as well coached.
Dane just decided to show up last night. Yeah, I think 6 too. I'm with Justin. I think the Clippers can give them some problems. The only thing as a Clippers fan that worries me is Minnesota.
We're talking the East.
We're talking the East right now.
Yeah, no, for sure. That was what I'm saying. In the East, I don't really see, with no Embiid in Philly, with them really not gelling. Like, I mean, when you fire the coach and you're in 3rd place, there's problems going on. I think
there's
Boston
even more problems in Milwaukee when Doc Rivers is blaming everyone else but him for his poor coaching.
Absolutely, Doc Rivers has been a poor choice for Milwaukee. I think they're 2-7 since he's been there.
This man said,
either 2-8 or 3-7. Yeah.
He said, I don't know why they called me, or I don't know what they wanted, or something like that. I don't know. I mean, the players didn't like Griffin. That's a story for another day. But god damn, dude, like they're looking like shit. Like, but Boston's starting to run away with this thing at this point. Like,
Boston's getting the number 1 seed. There's no question about that.
If they don't get the number 1 seed, I'll be shocked.
They'd have to implode or tank.
They would have to implode to not get the number 1 seed at this point. And of course, I feel like they can cruise through the East.
I do have a question though to that end. Considering how well they are playing,
okay,
should Jason Tatum be in the MVP conversation?
Yes, absolutely. Make no mistake about it. At this point in time, Jason Tatum should be the front runner for MVP.
But he's not getting the talk at all. You're talking about you're hearing Chico, Chris Alexander. You were hearing Joel Embiid, but you're not hearing Jason Tatum's name talked about much on that front.
You're not, but I think that's going to change over the next couple weeks.
It needs to, is my point. He needs to have that assertion and say, I'm going to take this and I'm going to shove it down your throat.
See, I think Jason Tatum, I think he's an extremely talented player. He's easily the best player on the Celtics. Mm-hmm. But from what I've seen, of course, from the NBA Final Series against Golden State and then last year against Miami, sometimes it almost feels like the moment gets to be too much for him, which sounds crazy because look at the Game 6 where he dropped 42 against Milwaukee a couple years ago, and then last year when he dropped, 50 in Game 7 against Philadelphia.
He dropped 50, yeah.
So, but those are kind of early round playoff moments, and so you can almost go back to I'm not comparing these two players; they're not even in the same realm. But early stages of LeBron.
You talking about the early stage LeBron yips.
The early stage LeBron yips, where say he went, where he dropped, 22 or 27 straight points for his team against Detroit back in 2007. And then, of course, he got swept in the finals by the Spurs. You can
LeBron
go back
shot horrible in those finals, by the way.
He did, but they also played what's it called? What's that defensive scheme that they play on Steph Curry sometimes? No.
Oh, like a triangle, box and one kind of?
Box and one. Thank you, Ian. The triangle's an offensive scheme, Justin.
That's right.
They played the box and one on LeBron where they had basically 4 people defending him at once. And
that's how Miami beat Boston last year.
It was. But this year...
Are you talking about a triangle and 2 or a box and 1?
Box and 1.
Box and 1. That's basically the defense that Steph Curry sees not a lot of the time now because of what's happened, but... he's seen it quite a bit throughout his career, especially at Davidson. He saw the box and one quite a bit. But what I'm getting to is I feel like Jason Tatum at times gets those early LeBron yips where he misses a shot or two or makes a bad defensive play a couple times in a row, and it eats at him. It gets in his head, and he gets out of his game.
And then he has to hit a 3 in clutch. Otherwise, he's garbage the rest of the night.
Jason Tatum needs to step up his level of intensity in these type of games. I feel that he can easily be the best player on a championship team if he gets right mentally. He's talented enough to do it.
He's got the talent, but again, and to touch on the Celtics in general, and Casey, you and I have been talking about this a little bit for the last 3 or 4 years. They are still maddeningly live by the 3, die by the 3.
They are. They absolutely are. That was one of the biggest flaws with them.
It's still the biggest flaw with them right now. That is,
how apparent it is that they live and die by the 3. I'll give you a prime example of how apparent it is they live and die by the 3. When I watch playoff games with my fiance, she barely has ever watched basketball. And when the Celtics get in a rush, she's like, oh, there they go, jacking up another 3. Oh, there they go, shooting up another 3. Like, she doesn't even watch basketball. And when she's watching the Celtics with me and they're losing, even she sees that. They run down the court, shoot a 3. Oh, they shot another 3. Oh, they shot another 3. They don't try to get back in the game by attacking the paint.
47.9% of their shots are 3-point shots.
Which is outrageous that 47 of their shots are 3-pointers. When you're making them, it's fine.
But when you're not.
When you're down 3-2 on the road in a playoff series and you're jacking up 3s like that and they're not going in, that's when it's going to kill you. And I feel this team, why it could be different, they have that 7-foot beast in Porzingis.
And I think also having the defensive ball handler in Drew Holiday also makes a huge difference because you're not having to force Jaylen Brown to drive left where he can't.
I loved how he put the glove on his left hand during the dunk contest, though, to kind of emphasize that point that everyone thinks he can't drive left. So we put on that Michael Jackson glove.
That's funny. Yeah, no, I don't know, man. I just think Boston I think Porzingis makes
it's their championship to lose.
Yeah, no, it's for sure theirs to lose. I mean, regardless of what people want to say about Minnesota, and I'm really high on my Clippers. If Boston plays the best they can, they're going to win the championship. I think
for sure.
And they have the chemistry. I mean, granted, look at the Clippers team is good now, but Boston, they've built this team with the exception of adding Holiday and Porzingis, like Tatum, Brown, Horford. These guys have been around for now. Pritchard's playing more, exactly. Hauser, so Derek White's been playing big time minutes for 3-4 years now. So it's gonna be interesting, man. I'm excited to see the playoffs. I'm really excited for my Clippers. I think Tice is gonna give us some solid minutes, and I think that we're going to go to the finals this year, man. I really think it's finally the year. I think that Boston is out of it. No, the Clippers. Clippers against the Celtics, yep.
That's what I'm saying. Clippers Celtics. That's what you think the final matchup is going to be?
Yes, sir. Clippers in a sweep. Now, if they do play, man, we'll see how both teams are playing at the time.
I'd say Boston in 7.
I like Boston, but I also like
Boston in 6.
I like Tyson. I like Zubac to neutralize Porzingis. I know Zubac can't guard on the perimeter like that, but I think Zubac's going to give him some trouble, and we have way too many scorers for you guys to stop. It doesn't matter if you have Drew Holiday or not.
We also have too many scorers for you to stop, though.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair, yeah. It's not you guys are pretty talented. I still think we're more talented.
Derek White would eat your point guard alive.
Oh, Westbrook would shit
Derek White and Drew Holiday are 1-2 defensive ball handling functions.
You talking about with Westbrook's defensive liability, he's going to guard Derek White?
In a playoff series, yeah. He might get past him a few times, but Westbrook is going to get hit.
No, he's not going to get past him. He'll get set a screen. Westbrook will try to go over it, and Derek White will drain a 3.
Yeah, Westbrook does just never seem to go under screens. It seems like his pride. He really just wants to go after the guy.
Yeah, that's absolutely what would happen.
I'm kind of envisioning that happening right now. But I think a lot of what's going to happen, like I said, we've been talking about, I think it's Boston's to lose. They're easily the front runner right now. I think
real quick. Kawhi, obviously still a good defender. Not a good enough defender to hold down Tatum anymore.
Nope.
You said anymore?
Yeah, Kawhi in his prime, sure, absolutely.
Into the playoff. Let us get into a playoff series. You know that man's a fucking beast at conserving his energy. He'll lock Tatum down.
Lock him down?
Lock him down? No.
Wiggins did pretty good against him.
Control, maybe. Lockdown, no.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think anybody can lock down Tatum. Tatum's too good. But still, he's gonna contain him just like Wiggins did.
Okay. Tatum beat himself more than Wiggins held him down, though, Ian. And I know you're holding on to that segment because you made that prediction at the start of the finals that, oh,
Do
Wiggins
you
is going to
remember
hold
that?
that.
I've been talking big shit ever since. For
Yeah,
sure.
and
I
you
respect
know
your
for
memory.
damn well it was more Tatum holding himself down than it was Wiggins. How many open shots did Tatum miss?
How many shots could Tatum probably have made had Wiggins not been there in his grill? Wiggins was harassing him, but I get your point. But I just don't think that not
How many
yet.
did Tatum pass up? How many did he pass up?
Yeah. So
it seems like that game's been so long ago, man. That was 2 years ago. Like holy
I
shit.
will say this: a big advantage the Clippers have, Paul George. If he's on his game, Paul George for sure.
Harden. I mean, they could put. I feel like Holiday would do a good job on
Holiday would lock Harden. We talked about people don't lock. He would
Jalen
lock
Brown
Harden.
can lock Harden at this point.
I will say this: we would not have an answer for Paul George. He'd go off a couple games.
Mhm.
Absolutely, we wouldn't
Nobody's
have an answer
guarding
for
Paul George on that team.
Absolutely, I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100% there.
Or Kawhi. I mean, Drew is just too short. Other than that, like
I think
I don't know.
I think
feel
Jalen
like
Brown could give Kawhi a good defensive game.
with the NBA now and how up and down it is, and how many shots are being taken, like you kind of sometimes got to think about how much energy are they going to try to conserve for the other end. I mean, because you really can't go too hard on defense these days, because you're gonna need to be able to score. Otherwise, you can't score the ball these days. You're not gonna win.
Absolutely. Now, before we get into the question, this is kind of veering off topic here. I want to ask our other co-host, Mr. Duncan, a question here because there's another season that's right around the corner here, and it's one of Mr. Duncan's pure loves.
Mm.
And I want to ask him because I personally have no idea, and I don't know. I can't say for any bits of how I think they're going to be, so I want to ask Mr. Duncan's humble opinion. Justin, how are the Sox going to be this year? Are they a playoff team?
No.
Or no? Okay.
No.
They barely fought to get up to like third last year.
They weren't even in third. They were last.
They finished. I was gonna say I think they finished like last, but that
They
whole
finished
like,
last.
division was
I think they might
What's
be
the ceiling for them?
in the division or overall in the league?
Overall.
In the league.
Is it possible for at least the wild card round?
A lot will have to go their way. If I were to say right now, I'd say they're going to be, because top 7 get in now. I'd say their ceiling is 10th right now.
Oh,
right now.
That's rough. Is it pitching again?
It's pitching.
Pitching, okay. Because what I remember last year, they had some decently offensive talent where they can put bats on balls and they can get runs scored, but they just couldn't get off the field.
Yeah, they it's hard to say. I mean, it's hard to watch in some regard too. I mean, ever since they traded Mookie Betts, it's been downhill. Let's just be honest.
You're not wrong.
Because then first went Betts, then went Bogarts. Sale's gone now too, but Sale's kind of been deteriorating over the last few years. I'm okay with Sale going. Fun fact about Chris Sale, my brother, who is a baseball who coaches baseball for his school that he teaches at down in Florida. Chris Sale got to was there watching him throw BP to his players, so that was kind of a cool thing. He was like sitting there watching my brother pitch. Once he saw Chris there at the bleachers, just kind of chilling and watching because he's in Naples and they were in Fort Myers for him, which is right around the corner, effectively. But he's sitting there. Then once he saw him there, he's like, okay, well, this guy's forget this. I'm turning it up. So then he started throwing at his players, like, let's see if you can get this. And so Chris Sale kind of gave him an agreeable nod. It's like, not bad, kind of thing. So that's kind of his claim to fame. Like Chris Sale watched me throw BP and lined up against my team. So that's cool.
Hopefully, he doesn't let it go to his head.
He doesn't. No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
I'd be like, man, I should be playing for the Sox right now. Chris
final question on it, Justin, and let's just say every possible thing in the world goes right for the Red Sox this year. percentage chance of a World Series title?
2.
Okay. And that would still be with everything going
With
right as it possibly-
everything going right. 2.
Oh man.
You know why?
Why?
Because the Dodgers bought a championship.
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
Yep. They spent $1 billion on 2 people.
We say that, but the Dodgers always choke.
They bought $1 billion. They paid 2 people $1 billion with a B.
It's insane. All right, well that was good baseball talk. I'm sure we'll get a little bit more.
Just a damn minute. You didn't ask me about my Angels. Ask me what I think their ceiling is.
What's their
12?
ceiling, Ian? 60 and 62?
Yeah, no, I would honestly say that
62
our ceiling,
and 100?
Yeah, no, I would say our ceiling realistically is about 70 and 92. We're gonna be complete garbage. We're gonna be pretty bad for a few years. I just want to say that.
You're not testing the Tigers' record for futility, are you?
No. But we are probably one of the 5 worst run organizations in baseball. It's gonna be a rough few years, man. I just wanted to point it out just because I'm excited for baseball too, and I just wanted to let everybody know. So when we win in 8 years, I'm here.
Ian, as a Angels fan, how do you feel having you had 2 generational talents and did nothing?
You still have one, and you've ruined his career.
One that's on the decline, though, too.
You've ruined him. You ruined him from day one.
Yeah,
Mike Trout on any other franchise, except the Angels, would have possibly already had 2 rings, if not 3.
Mm-hmm.
And he would be on every cereal box.
He's one of the greatest players of all time.
He's on the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah,
and no one talks about it, but he's on the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, we're just really not good. Jordan Adams, hopefully he ends up developing, man. But it's really the Angels.
You need Joseph Gordon-Levitt to say a prayer to the stars.
Well, I mean, it just depends a lot of the times. It's just our depending. I mean, we did have a lot of injuries last year, but I mean, it's just guys that at some points don't even look like they can be in the majors, just making errors. We blew so many. That was the theme kind of the second half of last year, was blowing leads late in the game. So I don't think we're gonna be really good this year, man. Hopefully they can actually get a good amount of minor leaguers in there, because when we get Rendon and he spends most of last year hurt, I mean, we kind of
Rendon doesn't want to play baseball anymore. It's not his focus anymore. He came out and said, "Baseball is not my focus."
Then fucking retire. Oh man, this is gonna be a miserable few years. All right, who has got the? I know Casey was saying something when I rudely interrupted him just to talk shit about my own team. But what were you saying, Casey?
Oh, I was gonna say let's just move on to the question. It's about an hour and 10 minutes into the show. I think it's time that we do one last little question and hop off for the night, fellas. It's been a great show, definitely better than last week. We apologize, Mixed Reactions fan. Last week was not our best effort.
I blame myself. I wasn't here.
No, I mean, it definitely wasn't your fault. Ian and I just weren't connecting chemistry-wise that well.
I didn't feel like, I listened to it earlier. I don't feel like we should maybe we should do an on-call podcast quality review. But I mean, it wasn't as bad as I had initially remembered. Like it was kind of bad. But who's got the question this week?
I had it last week.
No, I had it last week. I think I asked which jerseys it was.
Oh yeah, you did. That was actually a really good question too.
I had a question earlier this week, but I forgot.
Let's let Justin handle it.
All right, let's see. Let me get this one out.
Take your time. I'll play 50 Cent.
Not counting your own favorite team.
Okay.
What is the one championship win that you would want to see? Who and why? Who do we want to see win a championship and why? Not your team.
Not your team, but a team that you want to see win.
Can I answer first? Take one guess, both of you. And before you answer, I want you to think real hard. There was one question we had on this show, and you guys both got very upset at me for my answer. So I know which team I have my answer for, but I wanted to see. I'll give you guys both 2 guesses. 2 guesses.
It's the New York Mets.
Yes, the 1986. You know, that's the reason. You know, they say the best people in the world are the ones with money, but it's the ones that listen, and you listen, because that's exactly what I was gonna say. No, like no, maybe not the Mets. God, shit, man. I know I got the pressure on me because I really just jumped in there. Fuck, which championship? The Miracle on
No,
Ice. I guess that
no,
really
no.
counts.
No, no.
Wait, hold on. I want to make sure I understand Justin's question
I maybe
properly.
should narrow this down in terms of the sport.
Right.
Oh wait, Justin, are you talking about what championship game that's already taking place that we'd like to see live, or are you asking what team other than our own would we like to
Right.
see win the championship?
The latter.
Okay.
What team other than your favorite? And now I'm not going to necessarily specify which sport you're going to choose from.
Right.
You can choose your own, but a team other than your favorite that you want to see win a chip.
Oh, current. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I like that. I really like that.
The Lions.
Dude, do you have one in mind, Justin? Because that's a
Yeah,
good one.
actually, I do. They were my second baseball favorite team, the Seattle Mariners.
You know what? I want to see the Cleveland Browns.
That's fair.
That's a good one.
I think those are all respectable answers because none of them have. Well, I mean, the Browns have won an NFL championship, and I think the Lions have too. But
the Vikings would be pretty sweet too. Not
no,
gonna
fuck
lie.
the Vikings. I don't want to see the Vikings win anything.
Cleveland loves football so much. They feel like
True.
the Browns. They would. I mean,
Cleveland
you thought
got
they
their
went crazy for
championship
the
with LeBron.
Cavaliers.
You're good. They're good. Cleveland
No,
got
Yeah.
their championship.
No. That's a football place. Let's clarify. Ohio is a foot. Like they would go. You think they went crazy for the Cavs, bro? Nobody would work that fucking day. They would close out. No, they would definitely go crazy over football championship.
Yeah.
Is that you're saying fucked up because like you're just like, all right, I don't want to see Cleveland win again. They already got one with LeBron. Let's see
No.
Nashville.
I got nothing against the Browns, to be honest.
Full disclosure, I'm only saying fuck the Vikings because one of my best friends is a Vikings fan, and I never want to see my friends happy. So,
the Chargers wouldn't be too half bad.
I wouldn't mind seeing the Chargers. But
That's
if
not
I
a-
had to pick an NFL team besides Dallas that I want to see win a championship now, I'd have to say Detroit.
That's a good
It'd
one.
have to be Detroit.
Oh, there's
Yeah.
it on. Oh.
Win
No,
one from
for-
Marshall.
I want to see Notre Dame win one in college. I hate Notre Dame, and I hate Notre Dame, but they're like the Dallas Cowboys. Like people want to see them lose, and I feel like them being
Yeah, they're the most
if
popular team in college football.
if Notre Dame started running shit in college football, there would be so many eyes. And then for college basketball, I mean, I don't want to see Duke win. I wanted to see Butler for the longest time when they were
I wanted Gonzaga.
Ooh, that's a have they? Oh, they lost twice in the national
They
championship.
did. They did.
I'd like to, since they're not my favorite college basketball team, I can say this. I want to see Maine win it.
We're close.
They're not my favorite.
That's a fair answer to the question because my favorite college basketball team is Syracuse.
College hockey for me would have to be Arizona State to see a team from the West Coast win.
No, it's Black Bears or Bustine. Shut up.
He's like, we're not even gonna fucking joke about that shit.
Black Bears or bust. You know it. Let's go Black Bears.
That was a great question though, man. Like they're like Sandy, the Padre. No, I mean the Cardinals. They've already won so many.
Cardinals won
Yeah.
tons.
Yeah, in baseball,
The Blue Jays have won a couple back in the 90s.
I think we can all agree if they hadn't won in 2017, we'd all be saying the Cubs.
Yeah.
No, they won in 2016. Astros was 2017. Oh, but yeah, but that would have been my first answer.
Yeah,
if they hadn't
2016,
already
yeah.
won.
Yeah, if they had
Oh,
won.
the
the
Cubs.
Maple Leafs. That's one I want to see them.
No,
for sure.
no,
No.
no.
You guys answer like, wait. Why are their fans just loudmouths? Because I'm sure you guys live by quite a few.
They suck.
Yeah, fuck the Maple Leafs.
Or the Canadians.
Yeah, not the
Canadians
Canadiens
made the
either.
finals a few years ago, I think. Got fucking swept.
See, I'm not huge into NHL. Like, I'm way more into college hockey than in the NHL.
But there's
But I
certain
can-
teams you just know.
Yeah, like I consider myself a Bruins fan, and I'll watch them if they get into the playoffs. But other than that, I don't really care. But if I had to pick an NHL team that's not the Bruins to win a title, just
Quack,
because of
quack,
where they're located,
Quack.
yeah,
quack,
it's got to be the Ducks. It's got to be the Ducks.
Really?
It has
Oh
to.
man, that means a lot.
Thank you.
It's gotta be
Appreciate that. No.
It's gotta be the Ducks. I was a huge Mighty Ducks fan growing up. I'm still a big Mighty Ducks fan.
Can
Christ,
I
just
say
the other
the
week I
Golden
watched
Knights?
D2. Yeah, you're not a Golden Knights fan. Of course you can say them.
Dude, I just like I can't. The Ducks are my team. Like quack quack quack.
For hockey, for me in NHL, the team formerly known as the Hartford Whalers, the Carolina Hurricanes.
Carolina Hurricanes.
Really?
I've been to PNC Arena, and it is legit. They love that franchise there. Absolutely love that franchise. If they play
Hopefully
on
they'll
NC
love
State,
Bradley Nadeau in a couple years when he gets there.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, yeah, it's a great hockey environment there. Great hockey environment.
Fair enough. And that was a great question, Justin. We are sitting at an hour and 16 though. I feel like this is a great ending off point for the night. I feel like this was a great show, boys. Glad to have you back, Justin. And as always, mixed reactions. Take it away, Justin.
If you're gonna go to Canada, don't forget to bring a towel. I just came back from there. It's too snowy.
Yep, and we plan to do video soon, just not really sure when. So you'll catch us all hanging out on the casting couch. Hope you guys have a great rest of your night.